Well, I'm here in our American Indian garden at our studio gardens in Stillwater, and this is a garden that highlights various plants used in the culture of the American Indian. Now, there are over 50 tribes represented in the state of Oklahoma, all with different cultures and different uses of plants, so it would be hard to depict all of those in a 1,000 square foot area. What we've done is taken overall representation focusing on 3 different areas, those being medicinal or herbal plants, culinary or edible plants, and then the third one is utilitarian, which is really using plants for purposes such as making baskets, brooms, and using them for dyes. Well, the plant that I want to focus on today is actually a small fruit that's native to Oklahoma called currant, which is Ribes odorata. Now, it's not to be confused with another plant commonly called Indian currant, which is actually more related to buckbrush, which we'll talk about later on in the season. The one that I want to show you, again, is native and it puts on berries, but the foliage is what's so unique and its characteristic. The leaf is actually deeply veined and lobed, so it looks like it has 3 different parts of the leaf. But what most people are interested in are these berries here, and this one was just planted, but again you can see it's already put on a few fruit. And these berries were used by Indians obviously for edible purposes, but also to make dye. Now, the native one that's native to Oklahoma is most commonly found in woodland or wetter type areas, and the berries can vary a little bit in color. Sometimes they'll be a little bit greener in color too. The thing that we always encourage people to do though is to put the plant in the right location, especially if it's a native one. So here we have it in full sun. It's a little bit of a stretch. It was very happy obviously earlier in the spring with all the rain, but it's starting to wilt down on us, so I'm not quite sure how it's going to make it, although we have seen some of them that are out in a little bit more full sun. Now, like so many of the plants, again, this one is also in the trade now, introduced with different cultivated names that gardeners can purchase in their home garden. And let's go take a look at a few of those. Well, the big shrubby plant here in the middle is what we refer to as our mystery currant. It's been here for at least 6 or 7 years. It's been moved to different locations, and again, it still doesn't produce that much. It didn't have a label, so we're really not sure which cultivar it is. It's gotten pretty big over the last couple of years. It likes this particular spot, but you'll notice the leaves have a little bit of leaf spot on them, again, from the cool, wet spring that we've had, and it's defoliating a little bit. But let me show you the fruit load that we have on it. This has been about the extent of it, I guess, for a couple of seasons now. There might be, oh gosh, 5 or 6, again, little black currants on there. Not even enough to really use in a bowl of cereal, I don't think. Now, a lot of the old timers will call currants gooseberries, and really there is a species different. Now, they're very closely related. The genus is still the same, Ribes, but again, there is a difference. Look at just the foliage. Again, remember what I showed you on the currant. That one looks pretty close, and this is a new cultivar of gooseberry that we've put over on this particular side of the currant, so that's very similar actually as far as the foliage goes. But I can take you down to ones on this side of the currant, and you'll see a big difference in the leaf shape. Again, it's still lobed, but it's almost more star-shaped. Kind of reminds me of a sweet gum leaf a little bit. Now, most of the native type gooseberries though have thorns on them, and so they're starting to hybridize some new cultivars that are thornless, and this one is pretty much thornless, although you'll still see some of the little stickies or tendrils that are on the petiole, but again, they're really not anything that would harm you. Now, these particular plants, again, we put in as rooted cuttings a year ago. Actually, it'd be going on a year and a half now, I guess, and this one has fruit on it this year, and you can see the bright red berries, and when you harvest them, they're usually in a cluster. And so you can just pick them off like that. A lot of times gooseberries will have lines on them. Obviously this is a red one. There's also yellow ones and black gooseberries, just like there are red, yellow, and black currants. So it gets a little confusing, I think, to some gardeners because there's so many different ones, they're so closely related, but the main thing you need to remember is plant them, again, in the right location. They like good fertile soil. Their pH is a little bit acidic, but not nearly like the blueberries, so anywhere from, say, like 5.5 to 6, 6.5 would be fine. And spacing is about 3 feet apart, although I have seen some gardeners grow them 2 by 2 and they trim them up like a hedge. Now this one, the currant in the center is sending up suckers. Here's one coming up under here, so you can divide those. But really, as far as pruning, just keep in mind that they set fruit, both of them, on 1-year-old wood. So sometimes that might be spurs, sometimes it might be the cane itself. So if you get any wood in there that's, say, like over 4 years old, go ahead and trim that out, or anything that's broken or diseased. Now, like all small fruits, you need to get these in the refrigerator just as soon as you can, because they don't store very long. And if you're going to use them for, say, like jelly, jams, pies, or torts, or anything like that, you might want to add a little bit of sugar, because these things are definitely tart and it's an acquired taste. But you'll be surprised at how a lot of these are showing up in mail order and at your local garden center.